The Philippines. A country at the crossroads of a continent. A vibrant culture bringing together the best of the East and West. A country on the rise and one of the most dynamic economies in Southeast Asia. A nation blessed with astounding creativity, abundant resources, and an increasing competitiveness on the global stage. And with today's highly competitive global economy, the Philippines looks towards the export industry as a key contributor to its economic growth today and in the future.
Philexport's role is very important in developing our industries that any economy, any industry should have. We from the government were able to coordinate with only one sector because it's difficult to reach out to so many scattered players across the country, and hence having an industry really is important in terms of the coordination functions, in terms of bringing issues and problems to our attention. From our side, it's also important that we have an organization such as Philexport that we can consult with.
It's very crucial because it generates about $80 billion for the economy. Maraming exporters natin, they come from different parts of our country. So it also promotes countryside development. It's also important is to push innovation in the export industry because it's a very competitive world out there. And many of our ASEAN neighbors right now are pushing innovation as part of their national agenda. We really have to make innovation as part of the agenda of our exporters to further increase revenue and to, again, to generate more jobs in the countryside.
Delivering its role to support and develop the Philippine export industry is the Philippine Exporters Confederation, Incorporated, or Philexport, the country's umbrella organization of exporters. A result of the merger in 1992 of the Philippine Exporters Foundation and the Confederation of Philippine Exporters, Philexport, aims to turn the Philippines into a globally competitive exporting nation by facilitating an export-friendly environment and by further unifying and strengthening the export sector. Philexport stands strong with over 4,000 members across 52 industry associations and 21 chapters nationwide. Together, they represent over 70% of the country's export performance. The Philippines, in the mid-80s, saw a political transition that held promises of fast recovery and accelerated growth. The late 80s saw the promise falter under an environment which was perceived to be hostile to exports. Philexport strove to assume an active involvement in issues and policies affecting the sector. Its partnership and work with the Export Development Council, the country's highest export policy-making body, has resulted in key legislations and policies being enacted to the benefit of exporters nationwide. Most significant of this being the Export Development Act of 1994. Philexport's advocacies also led to the drafting of key initiatives including the Philippine Export Development Plan and the Magna Carta for MSMEs. Working with partners, Philexport also commissioned various studies and papers that facilitated and led to Philexport has also partnered to push and bring to fruition initiatives such as and it has advocated for the development of many industries or sectors including electronics, animation, film, hotel and restaurant, management consulting, printing and publishing, IT, commercial fishing, paper, petrochemical, health services, refined cane sugar, freight and textiles. A 10-year technical assistance program from 1992 with the Netherlands-based Center for the Promotion of Imports or CBI from developing countries enabled export sectors such as furniture, food, metals, fashion accessories, jewelry, gifts and housewares and chemicals to enter and establish niches in the European market.
An organization like Wine Jewelry Industry Association needs an umbrella organization like Philexport. One of the main projects, the Philippine Fine Jewelry Design Competition, It is on its 17th year now, and it is the longest running design competition in all sectors already, not only design. And this is because of the partnership of MGIA, our association, with Philexport. Whenever we have a training or seminar, Philexport helps us fund the project, and that's the reason why our association is successful.
Philexport is a veritable one-stop shop that provides its members with key services including through the years. Philexport has released over 100 million pesos in continuing grants to qualified projects for advocacy, promotion, and capacity building of Philexport affiliated industry associations and regional chapters through the sectoral and regional support funds. Philexport also helps facilitate the travel tax exemption of exporters for trade promotion or marketing, conference and productivity training under the APEC Business Travel Card that facilitated the visa-free travel of qualified exporters for trade promotion purposes to APEC economies. Operating a custom-bonded warehouse for MSME exporters facilitates the duty and tax-free imports of raw material inputs for export production. It has likewise assumed the management of the one-stop export documentation center, which houses under one roof export clearance agencies to facilitate the hassle-free issuance of export permits. These interventions by Philexport and EDC, working with other partners, has helped Philippine exports break the $10 billion performance in 1993, at 26% growth. This was the best performing globally, achieved at the height of, and despite, the Asian crisis in 1997. Such performance has been largely sustained, with a few fluctuations in between, owing to episodes of reduced global demand. These periods also saw even the major markets of the US, Europe and China losing steam due to their own economic issues. Additionally, there are domestic challenges that the industry continues to struggle with, including weak access to financing and high cost of doing business due to red tape, among other factors.
We know very well that they call this the age of Asia, and things are going well with us in terms of investment, in terms of whatever that is needed for export development, and we are very receptive because we have a very talented population, group of exporters. We have the abundant natural resources, and I think politically we are also considered quite stable, and we have a government which has a good vision that is sustainable. So we feel that our export development plan, which we are coming out today, will help us boost export and meet our targets.
And the work continues. Led by a team of 17 trustees representing the gamut of member industries, partnered with key government agencies, and supported by a dedicated team of professionals, Philexport is poised to serve the needs of the Philippine export industry and remains committed to championing the industry to create an exporting nation. Surviving one crisis after another, the Philippine export industry, like the Filipino people, has shown the resiliency and muscle that has allowed it to perform and survive. Even in the midst of harsh global economic conditions, Philexport stands at the forefront of the country's drive towards greater economic growth. It shall remain committed to champion the industry to create an exporting nation, as the way to help uplift the lives of many Filipinos, and pave the road towards making the Philippines the next tiger economy. Philexport. Towards building an exporting nation.